when you are together physically, it's like that's like been the foreplay. That's so it's electric. But when you're not seeing each other that often, you are and you're conscious that I've missed this body. I've missed this whole being. I need to make sure that I'm taking you in.
Hi, you're welcome to another episode of Let's Do Life with Atilola. My name is Atilola and I'm excited to be here with you once again. And I have a lovely friend in the building. I'm sure she's probably no stranger to you because she's our own YouTube star. Welcome to the show, none other than Yetunde Vlogs, Yetunde Edunjobi.
What an
like I'm so excited
to be here.
Thank you very much.
Thank you for having me.
Thank you for gracing Let's Do Life. Thank you. And we are going to be doing life, and we are going to be very practical. We are going to be very real, having real conversations. When you told me that you were traveling, like you were going to be living apart from your husband for a while, I was like, why? 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 Number one, let's start. Just tell us a bit about we know many of us already know, but just tell us a bit about yourself, your marital status, you as a family woman, and what your values are exactly.
Okay, so for me, I'm a Christ believer, and I'm a Christian, and I love God. I love my family. I'm married with a child, and I love being married. I love my husband. I'm married to an amazing man, and we have a wonderful family. And it just became, I shared as well, and we both shared on our pages, on our channels as well, about us having a long distance marriage, and the reason behind it being that for the period and the season in our lives, that was what was needed, and not because of our marriage per se, but more so things that we are working on for our future. And it was something that I didn't necessarily expect, or I didn't, you can't really, I don't know, you can plan for it. To be planned, it was something that we just feel led, and that is the season that we were in. And if it wasn't that we were led, trust me, it wouldn't be something that's happening. But it's something that it may not necessarily make sense to others that haven't experienced it or are not necessarily in that particular situation. But for us, because we see the vision and we have, and it's clear for us, so that's why how we find ourselves here.
That's very interesting, because I know that you are both entrepreneurs. You don't work for anybody, because normally I wasn't going to go into that right now. I just wanted you to introduce yourself. But since you have introduced the topic, you had to live apart, or you are living apart from your husband. Right now you are in the same location as we filmed this video, but many times you are apart. You are in the UK and he's here, but you're not working for anybody. So it wasn't like you were transferred by any company. No, you just made that decision to live apart. What exactly why did you make that decision, since it wasn't instigated by any external factor?
Because it was, as for the vision for our family, in order for it to move further, this is what we needed to do at this present time. It was never a case of because my husband and I, we've been married for 6 years.
Yeah, 6 years. Since 6 years.
6 years, and by the glory to God that we've he is my very best friend. We do everything together. I know some people during lockdown, their marriages went through a lot.
Yes, some even crashed.
Yeah, because it was a lot. Because I think it was because you're essentially having to really know the person you're with. For us, it was as if life didn't really change much. It's just that I didn't really go out, because we spend so much time together.
Yeah,
we work together.
You mean in Nigeria?
In Nigeria, like we work together. We do everything together. So it didn't feel much different. It wasn't any different for us, really. Yeah. Just for the fact that everybody else was kind of doing what we normally do. And we don't, so so that there is no part of me that ever wants to be apart from him, even especially not for like long periods of time. And thank God it's not so long, because he goes to the UK regularly, and that has really helped. But in the same breath, it doesn't make it any less like easier to be apart, because we always want to be together, we always want to be in the same place, but it's for a season. And I think that's what I always say about long distance marriages. There has to be a timeline, a deadline. It's not.
So you have it. I know you won't want to share here, but you have a
yes,
timeline.
Of course, it's only a time. It's only for a season.
It's
for a season. It's for about when we shared about it, and a lot of people were commenting that it's not good, this one, that one. Nobody knows the reason why certain things happen, because it's not everything that you will share.
Yes, but everybody has their own story.
As long as those that are involved have an understanding and they share the same vision. And again, it's to understand there has to be a timeline. There has to be a deadline. I know of like people in the older generation where it was a permanent thing, where the uncles would live in Nigeria. The aunties would be in London with the UK. With the children. That's not for us. That's not our plan. That's not what's going to happen. And some may say that they never planned it like that either. But for me, my priority is always going to be my marriage. And for a marriage to fully thrive as it should, you have to be on the same page, and the vision, and and being on the same page is that we never want to be apart permanently or for long periods of time.
So let's backtrack a bit. Whose idea was it that, I think you should go for a while, let's get this family's vision, blah blah blah, and then
it wasn't actually.
Where did the topic even start from? Whose idea was it?
It wasn't a thing. It was one person's idea. It was more so that there was a few things that I needed to do in the UK at that time as well, and just health wise, just different things I needed to be in the UK. Like it wasn't a case. It wasn't even a plan to necessarily go back. It was just a thing of because we were going like every year, sometimes twice a year. So it wasn't anything out of the ordinary. But because of at that time, it was that I needed to be there, for different reasons. So it then became a thing of actually maybe
one of which is business expansion. Let me just
amen. Exactly, because there's so many things like sometimes as well the understanding of wherever you are, it's like you start building wherever you are in order for you to, and then you can start expanding different places. And by God's grace, I want, as a creator, as an entrepreneur, I want to be able to expand over the shores of Nigeria, and and again, the UK will always be home for me. So
because she actually came from the UK to Nigeria, and that's where she met her husband at a place of work
in Nigeria.
Nigeria, so she wasn't living here. You can hear from the way she speaks. So she came here and she met her husband and then got married. And then some people will say she came here to look for man.
Right.
Some people say she came here to look for man. And then when she got the man, she abandoned us and left.
Oh my God. Right. Well, maybe, who knows? So come and collect my son I have for you.
So we have good men in Nigeria.
Honestly, we thank God, honestly. I don't know where I'll be if I waited in the UK. Some of these people, they're dull, man.
True.
No, but honestly, I think it's, everything is seasoned. And it may not necessarily reflect, the reason why I say that it wasn't a decision that we just let's just do. It was definitely a leading. It was because my flesh will fight and be like, I really want to go back there. Do I really want to go to the UK? I'm thinking about the weather. I'm thinking about the lifestyle. Everything is totally different. I grew up in London and it's very fast paced. Even as a career woman, like my career hadn't reached the point that it has now when I was there. So it's like it was me kind of like shifting over there. Even like I'd never lived on my own in the UK before. I'd never done that.
How, there are lots of people in long distance relationships and many marriages are broken because of this. But what I know, at least what I know, is that I see your marriage even becoming stronger.
Oh my God.
And I want to ask, we'll not talk about what makes your marriage stronger right now. We'll talk about it later. But I want to ask, how do you bond? How do you maintain your spiritual bond, your friendship bond, which is your social bond, and then your sexual bond?
For me, it's that intentionality.
How do you maintain sexual bond with intentionality in a long distance relationship?
Because intimacy is not just sex.
Okay.
Intimacy is also how your friendship.
Okay.
The things that you share.
Okay.
It's that communication. Communication is like everything. It's like, I feel like communication is like 80% of a marriage.
Okay.
And communication in terms of, you're sharing things that happen in your day, you're sharing how you're feeling, you're sharing what's happening with the children, and he's then sharing what's happening with work. He's sharing how he's feeling. You're sharing what we are, the plans that we have, or the trips that we want to take. Those kind of things. There's a growing friendship. There's an intimacy that that has to be managed as well, so that when you do come together physically and you want to have that sexual intimacy, because you've already kind of, there's affirmations, you're constantly affirming each other, you're constantly reminding each other of the love that you have for one another. Not because that you're perfect, not because that you won't get annoyed about certain things, or be like, oh, I told you did not fix it, or whatever. Like, there are things that that's just normal, but at the same time, because you are intentional about creating an environment of being a safe space no matter what, and constantly supporting each other when you are together physically, it's like that's like been the foreplay. That's so it's electric. My sister is like, you don't even before, sometimes
I'm feeling shocked
because there's this thing where it's like, when you're constantly together, there can be a C finish.
Yes, of course.
There is a C finish.
There is a C finish,
like,
actually.
I'm tired tomorrow. Maybe next week I'm tired. But when you're not seeing each other that often, you are you're conscious that I've missed this body. I've missed this whole being. I need to make sure that I'm taking you in. I'm taking you in as much as I can do until the next time.
But do you think that that's because there's already the foundation of a good relationship?
Absolutely.
Because the truth is that it hasn't gone that way for everybody.
No,
some people, there are two quotes here. There's absence makes the heart grow fonder, and there's out of sight is out of mind. So out of sight, when you come, we just pick up from so there's no electricity flowing here.
But
you understand? This is an insulator, not a conductor. You get? We are not.
But that's why the foundation, like you said, it's important. My husband is my very best friend. He is someone that I share. Sometimes I overshare with Steph. He said with me like, babe, like he's like, kilo come. Like, what's my business? What you're telling me?
Yeah.
But he's my very best friend, and even to the point where it's that if I'm feeling like, oh, like, I don't feel as connected to you, babe, like, and even as we may be in the same space, or this is even like, I'm like, I just feel like, I don't know, I feel like are you wanting, like, just whatever, like, I can express myself without feeling like there's going to be a negative repercussion. He's my safe space.
Yeah.
And I think that's important before entering into this kind of thing. I don't believe if a marriage is already in disarray, there should be any kind of distance. No. It can only work if there is a foundation, a strong foundation of friendship and of love, because you have to do things, you have to be very intentional. If you don't have that already, it's like, whatever. I've read stories where it's that, they're having issues, and then there was one that the woman was like, they're having issues at home, and then the husband was saying that they should just go to Canada or whatever, and that he'll be there, he'll be here, and they could just. It's not a solution to a marital problem.
Yeah.
Long distance will just increase that, and it will heighten it. So, and another thing about being away from your partner physically is that you see the state of your relationship.
Mm.
You see the state of your communication. You see the state of your of how you of your heart, like how you truly feel about them. When even you can call and stuff, but what are you talking about? What are you sharing? Like, did something happened? Were you able to share with them? Are you feeling a certain way? Are you able to share that with them? Even for, like, it exposes the state of your communication, and that's I felt that in the beginning as well, because I would be like, oh, like, it could be challenging, because it's like I'm trying to understand how you're feeling, but you're not giving me anything. I'll say that to my husband, and then he was very intentional about being more expressive, because again, like, that's something that I feel like men can find challenging, is expressing how they feel, expressing their emotions, whether they're happy or sad. Usually when they're not feeling too happy, like maybe whether it's about work or health or whatever, but it's to constantly reminding him that I need you to share this with me. Number one, because I want to know how you're doing. It matters to me, because however you're feeling affects me. If it's not good, I don't feel good, kind of thing. And also because when you share with me, look, we can pray about it. And prayer is the number one. Let me tell you.
Okay, so would that be in the spiritual bond? Because I was like, how do you bond spiritually?
It's prayer. It's prayer, fasting together, praying as a family, praying every day, praying without ceasing, because you have to keep praying, because the enemy is trying to destroy families. And you don't have to be far apart for the enemy to try to destroy your family. But there's even more reason why there's ways that he can try to find a way in, and you have to make sure that you cover every base. Like, you can't, when a king is not in his castle, is he going to leave? He still has his soldiers that are protecting the castle. He doesn't stop. The soldiers don't go away as well, because then the castle will be invaded.
Yeah.
And everything will be gone.
Yeah.
It's the same thing with your marriage. Whether or not you're in the castle or you're out of the castle, you have to ensure that you are manning it. And it's by spirit. And it's like, because again, when it's not against flesh and blood.
Yeah.
People are telling me, people will comment on things and be like, oh, they're women, this one, that one. My brother, my sister. I do not concern myself about things like
people
that.
Come to tell you that women are ready to take your husband.
If you're not careful. People like comment things because their mentality is so warped. Yeah. That's all they think about. It's about, oh, number one, a man can cheat. That's one. And also because people thrive on negative. They thrive on negative news. Someone will be like, I knew it. The marriage is working again. So much so that even when they see something positive, they can't accept it, because they need to hold on to that negativity to make themselves feel better. So for me, it's like I don't think about that, because it does not concern me. I can't worry about something that doesn't concern me. And how can I say I'm a woman of faith and I'm worrying about things that, what is that? Whereas my mind should be, I'm praying for my husband, that God will continue to increase him, strengthen him, that, with his work, he'll have the right help, excellent help. All these kind of things. Those are things that consume my mind. Praying for my marriage, that God will continue to strengthen it, and that we will continue to grow in love and in peace and joy together as a family. Like that my prayers they're not complicated. It's not complicated.
Wow. Very, very interesting. So you keep the fire burning by communication. Constant communication. And the fire is still burning now.
Hallelujah. Praise the Lord.
Okay, so I want for people out there that are conceived. You know what? Let me even ask first. Can you share your challenges, the challenges you have faced with long distance, and if you have had any regrets? I don't know if regret is too strong a word to use.
Yeah, I think.
Like, have you ever said, "Oh, I shouldn't have done this first"?
No, never.
Okay.
I think because if it was me that said that I'm just up and I'm going, or my husband that said that I'm up and I'm going, there could be regret.
Okay.
Because we know that this is a leading of the Spirit. There's no regret, because we trust that God is he can see what we can't. Okay. And sometimes it takes a while for the flesh to catch up. The Spirit is already there, but the flesh is still fighting through, and challenges will come. Absolutely. It was, there were challenges. Getting a place in the UK is not easy. In London specifically, it's not easy. It was very challenging, and just being away from my husband it was not easy. Communication as well, like I said, that that was a challenge because again, it's like, you know, I'm very expressive. My husband isn't as expressive all the time, especially when he's under pressure or he's under stress. Work, you know, when your mind is so full of work, you know, for him it can be a challenge to still fully express, you know, how I can help and or express to the point that I can help, and then we can talk about it. But he's, you know, that's something that we have to talk through again, is communicate through that, and then be more intentional about. And so he is more intentional about sharing with me how he's feeling. May not be at that very point, and I have to be more understanding that, okay, I want you to tell me now. I have to understand that it may not be now, but whenever he's ready, you'll let me know, and he does. So, you know, those are the things that have helped, and you have to. And I think with marriage anyway, is it everything that you fight over? Is it everything that you find offense with? Like, is it like?
In those days when we're naive,
you'll be like,
well, we didn't
do this.
No.
How you said that you do this?
In those days,
all these kind of things. It's like, as you grow in marriage, it's like, why am I arguing about this? It's choosing to have joy, regardless, and that is not easy, because there are times when you just feel this is hard. Like, this is like, this is like, it's choosing to have joy, because at the times you just feel tired. Like, like London is not easy. Nah, as in everything is like, people talk about how Lagos is. London is that, but with a bit more, with way more structure. Like, with way more structure. But what I'm thankful for, that I have a supportive husband, and it's a very hands-on husband and father. That means the world to me. I think that if I didn't have that, I would feel alone.
Okay, so those are the challenges. The fact that you are living alone, and that you don't have that support physically.
Sometimes,
Okay.
No, I say that, but then I have my sisters and my mom. To be fair,
it's not like a husband.
Exactly.
Husband is aside.
So when you talk about support physically, it's more so like, you know, your hand around me, like, you know, reassurance.
Yes.
You know, but and again, I think for me is that because I know it's a short term. It's a short term thing. So
okay, so one of the things we have learned from you today is the fact that you shouldn't attempt this if your relationship is not having a strong foundation. So you should be intentional if you are already in this or considering this, this means long distance marriage, and then you should have an end goal in mind, like what time is this going to end? What's the plan at all? But what do you think about people that just, which is what happens most times? The truth is that most times people just like, you know what? There's insecurity in the country. Canada is better. You go, I'll stay. I will now find a way to maybe one day, whatever, join you in 4 years' time. There is no, which is not bad, but it's not like they are not spooky about it the way you are being spooky about it.
How do you mean
as a spiritual in quotes? You understand? They are not. It's not this serious. Like, you're being too serious.
I'm being too serious.
So what do you have to say?
Marriage is not.
It's not physical.
It's not a physical thing, and it's not a logical thing. So, you know, and I keep saying that moving abroad is not for everybody. As it makes sense, so on paper, is it making sense for your family? Not on paper. Because let me tell you something. Let me tell you, and you know, people. You know, it's like, you know, sometimes like when you feel like how can I describe it? I'm thinking like sometimes there is a difference between marrying the one and managing one. Like sometimes relocating, right? It's like there's a difference between this is a divine purpose and this is just, it makes sense. Which one is it?
Most people, it makes sense.
And it doesn't make sense spiritually. And all because, you know, and let's be honest with ourselves, how much time do we take to fully seek God about moving?
Most times it's because dollar is good and naira is not good. And I want to earn dollars. So,
and that's not enough. It's not enough to sustain your marriage. Yes, you need money, of course. And then, people can say that, oh, because nobody knows anybody's finances. But people say, oh, because I'm comfortable with whatever, that's why I can say that. Let me tell you, money is not what will sustain the marriage. People, you ask all the rich people that have married and they're no longer married.
Yeah.
Money is not enough and it's not enough to be the reason why you put your marriage in jeopardy. Because it makes sense logically. Are we all going to move from Nigeria to Canada to US? Are we going to 100 millions of Nigerians that are here? Will everybody move? But there are people that are still in Nigeria that are still thriving.
Of course.
In spite.
People like us.
Abby. In spite of what's going on. We can complain and say, oh, the fuel price, but you're still able to pay.
Yeah.
You're still able to live a comfortable life.
Yeah.
To a certain degree. And nowhere is perfect. Let me just say that as well. People keep thinking that they're going to go and meet the manna in heaven in the abroad that they're going to. It's a lie. And the people that are struggling because they were never supposed to be there. They're struggling. Now what I mean, it choke.
That's what I was about to like. They are being strangled.
It choke finish, and because of pride, they will not come back.
No, they can't.
And it choke, and it's so bad, so that these people that they've not been able to come back home for years. Wow. And not because they're happy, because they're trying to just manage enough to get to a point that they can even come back home and come back comfortably and look comfortable. So that is, I believe that everyone goes through certain different seasons, and sometimes it can be more some seasons are more humbling than the others.
Yeah.
That's not what I feel like defines whether you should go or not. But if you do not have that leading,
don't try it.
Don't do it.
Somebody considering long distance marriage right now, what do you have to say to them? Like, the man wants to move, or the woman wants to move, or they have to. Probably there's a transfer at work, and the other person cannot move with the children now. And whatever the situation is, what will you have to say to that person? Because you are doing it and it's working for you so far, but we know it's not going to be a permanent thing. What do you
for me, I prayed. I prayed. I had a dream.
Okay.
That was a confirmation for me.
Okay.
But
not everybody will have a dream.
Not everybody have a dream.
Not everybody will pray.
Not everybody will pray. So, but you have to have peace.
Okay.
You have to have peace.
Okay.
If you have peace about a situation, that usually for me is a response to this situation. I have peace about it. If you have peace, if you don't have peace, if you're very, like, there's a difference between not having peace and just being a worrywart. If you're someone that you just kind of worry anyway, that one is, you really need to find a way to find the center. You need to be able to center yourself and allow all the noise in your head to stop, so you can literally be at a point where it's that this is what I want to do. Should I do it? And if you have discord, or if there's discord in your heart or discord in your home about it, then maybe it's not now. Doesn't mean it's never. Maybe it's just not right now.
Maybe it's not even needed. Like, why must I do long distance relationship?
Maybe it's not even necessary. Maybe and maybe there's just many reasons. There's many maybes as to it doesn't have. As long as you're not doing it based on logic, it has to be based on, yes, obviously, of course, things have to make sense, but at the same time, it's like you can't see long term.
Yes.
So then how then do you
make sense of it?
How then do you make sense of it? If you don't pray? If you have that conviction, then nobody can tell you nothing. No matter how snowy it is in Canada, it will not faze you, because you have that conviction. You have received that vision, and you keep going with it. But your partner, you just have to, as long as you're both on the same page, then you're forced to be reckoned with.
Okay. So I'll just recap what she has said as a concluding statement to people who are considering long distance, or people that are about to make that decision. Make sure you're at peace with your decision. She said, make sure you pray about it also. You'll find your way eventually. Things will work out eventually. But I am stressing, please, don't separate temporarily or permanently when the foundation of your relationship is very shaky, when you are not going to be intentional And the truth is that many of us are selfish people, even in marriages. If you are going to be selfish and not look out for the interests of the other person when you are apart, don't even bother doing it, because I mean that's going to be a split. If it's not needed, it's not needed.
Yeah.
Don't do it because it's the trend.
Yeah.
You get marriages, like families are being sacrificed on the altar of living apart. Right now, families are being slaughtered on that altar, and we have not even seen the impact. It's in like 10 years, 20 years time, we will now see the impact of what is happening right now. These long distance marriages that we are doing, if it's not needed,
and if it's
because it's trending,
and if there's no end goal,
yeah, don't. The truth is that a lot of people always have one form of shaky end goal in mind,
that's
which never materializes.
It needs to be, that end goal needs to be, we do this, that's it. We do this, we're going, you know, it's like, okay, we're going, if someone is studying or whatever,
yes,
once you finish studying, you know, or whilst you're studying, we'll file for you guys, you'll come, finish. Like, what else are we doing? Because the children as well, think about the children. Most times they're young.
I think you are being very idealistic, and
I am,
some men, you know, some men love that distance.
They do,
so that they can do their nonsense.
They're not friends.
That's what I'm saying. That yeah. Some men actually, like, you get those men that could not live with their wives during COVID, and then, I mean, if you hear stories, people like, I'll come and meet you 1 year, 2 years, and like, you know what, just stay there. I'll be here, just be coming once in a quarter. There are people like do that, just be coming once in a. I think we are good, and it's because they have the freedom to do what. Let's not even go into that, because that's not the topic of this discussion. Thank you very much, Yetunde Vlogs. Yeti, as some people, I don't. Ayeti, baby, peperempe. I don't know how to sing. Go peperempe. You get. Thank you so much for coming on. Let's Do Life with Atilola. I am so excited. I'm going to be coming back to you in 2 years' time. I've booked you down for another show in 2 years' time. We are going to be discussing something very phenomenal. Me, I already know the topic. You don't know the topic. She is guessing the topic, but we are coming back in 2 years' time to talk about a very interesting topic. We've been booked down. May God preserve our lives for that time. Thank you so much. So before you go, I want you to like this video, subscribe to this channel, share, comment. There's one more thing I can't remember. Yeah, like, subscribe, comment, share. There's one more thing. I know there are always 5. I'm always putting down. So I see you in the next episode of Let's Do Life with Atilola. Bye.